The Miami Dolphins acquiring Tyreek Hill has prompted New York Jets fans to implore the team to go ahead and draft Ahmad Gardner in order to cover the immense talent that the AFC East has at wide receiver: Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and Stefon Diggs. I think this is a little misguided, and I'm going to explain why. First of all, disclaimer: I love Sauce Gardner. Regardless of position, he might be my favorite player in this draft. However, I'm going to give you a little analogy. I grew up watching the NBA in the mid 2000s, and if you're not an NBA fan, just hang with me. And in the mid 2000s, they used to have these defensive wing players who were really valuable. Ron Artest, Bruce Bowen, who would guard the other team's best scorer. They would call him the Kobe stopper, the Tracy McGrady stopper, the Vince Carter stopper. Really valuable. However, as the NBA progressed, offensive skill players became more abundant. Your big men could shoot threes. Your point guard wasn't just a passer, he could get to the basket and dunk. And offensive coaches in the NBA did a good job of scheming and using picks to get the matchups that they wanted. So the individual defensive wing player became less valuable. But what became more valuable was a big time shot blocking rim protector. Right? A Dwight Howard. Because even if you schemed everything open, you got the matchup you wanted, you got to the basket, you still had to get through the big guy to score a bucket. Now they're just all shooting threes, so that doesn't even matter anymore. But we see the NFL is now going through a similar transition that the NBA went through in the early 2000s. The NFL has been going through this transition for the past few years. About a decade ago, we know it better than anyone, it was really valuable to have a shutdown corner. Revis Island, take away half the field. However, just like in the NBA, in the NFL, offensive skill players have become more abundant. Your tight ends can catch. Your running backs can catch. Teams use more 3-4 wide receiver sets. Mike Gesicki and Kyle Pitts are basically power forwards playing slot receiver. So if I have 5 eligible receivers, and you're covering one of them, are you really taking away half the field? No. So the shutdown corner, while still a valuable player, has become less valuable, just like the shutdown wing defender in the NBA. Okay, so now in the NFL, who's the shot blocker? Who's the big time rim protector? Well, it's Myles Garrett and TJ Watt. Because you can scheme everything open, you get the matchups that you want, but if you're getting hit in the face, it does not matter. Go look up the last play of the Super Bowl. Jamar Chase cooks Jalen Ramsey down the sideline. Joe Burrow never saw him because Aaron Donald was in his lap. That's a change that's going on in the NFL. That's the only way to beat these elite level quarterbacks. You give Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen all day to sit back there in the pocket or run around and scramble. It doesn't matter how good your secondary is. They can only hold up for so long. Only way to beat these elite quarterbacks is to pressure them, get them off their spot, disrupt their timing. So for me, I love Sauce Gardner, but one of those top picks has to be an edge. The second reason why I think this thinking is a little misguided of being reactionary and trying to keep up with what the other teams in our division are doing, we need to focus on our own team before we can at least get off the ground, and then we can worry about our competition. We need to focus on making sure we have the right coach and the right quarterback before we worry about anything else. And if you look at how the Buffalo Bills have done it, yes, they have heavily invested in their pass rush to try and beat the Kansas City Chiefs. The past 2 years, they've done that. But did they start doing that? No, they started by drafting a bunch of offensive linemen, by trading for Stefon Diggs. Then once they knew they had their coach, they had their quarterback, and they made the playoffs, then they looked around and said, okay, who do we need to beat to get to the next level? And let's tailor our roster around beating them. That's fine if the Jets want to do that in a year or two. But right now, those first 2 picks should be spent on making other teams' quarterbacks uncomfortable and giving our quarterback a weapon so we can properly evaluate on whether or not he's the guy. So edge and wide receiver should be those 2 picks in the first round, even though I love Sauce Gardner. Then the following year, if the Jets go ahead, they win 8 games this year, we know Zach's the guy, we know Robert's the coach. Then if we want to look around and say, what kind of moves can we make to give ourselves the best matchups against our competition, that's fine. We're just not there quite yet. That's my thoughts on this. I love Sauce Gardner, but I think that logic is just a little misguided for where the Jets are as a franchise. Thank you for watching, and let's go Jets.